When I played through the Teal Mask the first time, it always seemed like there was just something missing, but luckily, Pokemon just dropped a brand new trailer teasing an entire hour of new content in Kitakami. This event is referred to as the Epilogue and will be available on the 11th of January 2024 at 2 PM UTC. To get access to the Epilogue, you'll have to complete the main stories of the Teal Mask and the Indigo Disc, as well as completing a certain post-game event in Pokemon Scarlet or Pokemon Violet. They don't state which post-game event specifically, although I have some good ideas, but I'll talk about that later because I'll have to talk about Indigo Disc spoilers. But for now, back to the trailer. The player returns to Mossui Town in Kitakami, along with Nemona, Arven, and Penny. After the main story, these three characters received nothing new story-wise in the Teal Mask or the Indigo Disc, but okay, maybe except Arven, but you know, we'll get back into that later. Either way, it's nice to see the original trio back together. The trailer cuts to shock on Arven's and Penny's faces looking up at something. It's important to note where these two are standing. You can see Mossui Town's Union Circle in the background, so judging from its location in-game, the group are standing right outside a small shop run by an old lady. And don't get me wrong, there are a lot of hints in this small area that hint towards what this event will be, which is a bit strange. I mean, there's not really much going on here, and I don't think Arven and Penny will be that shocked to see a Vulpix sleeping on the roof. Well, when the Teal Mask released, a lot of people were drawn to a small decoration in this shop. When you interact with it, it says there's a dusty old decoration of some sort mixed in with all the daily goods and things, but it smells sort of sweet. And on its own, this just seems like flavor text, but when you interact with the old lady, it all starts to make sense because the shop is named Peaches. There should be like alarm bells ringing in your brain right now, because this all leads back to an old Japanese story called Momotaro, meaning peach boy in English. It's a story of a young boy born from a giant peach who recruits the help of a dog, a monkey, and a pheasant to defeat a demon or ogre. This is very clearly the inspiration for the Teal Mask, except one character has always been missing since its release. Of course, Momotaro himself. Going back to the strange decoration, the game goes out of its way to say it smells sort of sweet. The Pecha Berry, being the Pokemon version of a peach, has flavor text in Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald reading very sweet and delicious. In Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum, it says what can be eaten is very sweet and delicious. In Sword and Shield, it says it's very popular for its refreshing sweetness. With all of this in mind, I'd say there is sufficient evidence to say that this event will introduce a brand new Pokemon based on the character of Momotaro. This Pokemon will likely be the Pokemon that first gave the toxic chains to Okidogi, Munkidori, and Pheasantipity. And even after all that, there's still a bit more to the trailer. They zoom in on one of the signposts that tells the story of the Loyal Three being led by Momotaro to defeat Ogerpon, as it zooms in on the sign's stand-in for Momotaro before fading to the familiar sweet-smelling decoration outside of Peaches. If you're finding this interesting so far, it'd be really cool if you subscribed. It only takes a second, it's completely free, and it makes sure you don't miss out on these events, ever again. And the next part of this video looks into trademarks filed by Game Freak, so if you want to avoid spoilers for the epilogue, I would suggest clicking away now, but Game Freak filed a trademark for Momowaro. The name comes from Momo, meaning peach, and possibly Waro, meaning boy, or Warui, meaning inferior, as in an inferior version of Momotaro. Now, as I said at the beginning, you'll need to complete a certain post-game event to gain access to this epilogue, which is extremely vague. I've seen a few strong theories online, the first being that you simply have to complete the Area Zero quest in the base game, or that you have to complete the Academy Ace tournament, but another possibility is that you'll have to trigger the post-game cutscene after catching Terrapagos and making your way to the Crystal Pool in Kitakami. I'm going to talk about the cutscene here, so spoilers for the Indigo Disc. I'd really recommend checking it out for yourself, it's really cool, but to summarize it, Terrapagos uses its space-time powers to summon the Professor from the past to talk to the player. They mention Arven and their research, and then they give you the Scarlet or Violet book in return for Briar's book. I've seen a lot of people online dismiss this as being a version of the Professor from another timeline, but if you go to the Area Zero Underdepths, you can see a journal entry from the Professor retelling their account of the story, being transported near a lake that smelled of sulfur where a child gave them a white volume. After seeing this cutscene for the first time, my first instinct was to, try to see if there was a way I could tell Arven or if his character had any involvement in the story, but he doesn't. It's possible that the epilogue will allow you to talk to Arven about this, but it's also very possible that Game Freak will never acknowledge it ever again. So the most likely answer is that you'll simply have to complete the Academy Ace tournament to trigger the epilogue, but if you want to be completely sure when the epilogue releases, I will be making another video when that happens. Oh, and another quick update, the 7-star Iron Bundle raid begins today. If you want a quick guide on how to defeat it, check out the video on screen, and if you don't want to miss updates on new Terror raids or this brand new epilogue, make sure to subscribe.